Hello and welcome to another Win Daily show. My name is Michael Raziel. I am here with my man Adam Strangis, and we are here to talk about the 820 MLB DFS. And we're leading up to lock. Adam, how you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good. Looking to take advantage of some kind of bizarre DK pricing tonight.
We love bizarre DK pricing because that's where we come in. But first, we have to talk about my Mets. The news came down probably about 20 minutes ago. I wasn't looking at my phone, so the news was actually broken to me by my fiance. So I'm sure she got some cruel pleasure out of that one. But the Mets will not be playing tonight against the Marlins. They will not be playing Friday against the Yankees, and I'm going with the far off assumption that they will not be playing Saturday or Sunday as well in the first Subway Series because the Mets have COVID. Now, let's be very, very honest here for a second, Adam. If there was one team in the MLB that you thought was going to get COVID first, who was it?
It would be the Pirates or the Mets, considering who's already had it for sure.
Exactly. Well, I mean, personally, I just thought the Mets were going to be the first team to get it and then shut down all of baseball because that's like the most Mets thing possible. But honestly, to take it out this song, I kind of wish we had a COVID pool. I probably would have just put it on every day. But August 20th, I'm actually surprised it took this long. So the Mets will not be playing tonight against the Marlins, and they will not be playing tomorrow against the Yankees, which takes a couple teams out. Yay, hurrah. I don't know. The Yankees already played today. It's very Mets. It's
Yeah.
very Mets. But we will move on. We got to get to the pricing. We got to have some fun with this thing. So there is some bizarre pricing here on the slate. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the pitching, a bit about Shane Bieber going up against those Pirates of yours, and really just trying to figure out how we can make some money tonight, man. So let's throw this up. Let's look at it. I mean, let's just start with it, man. I mean, everybody should have already read Adam's article at one of or all of Adam's articles at windailysports.com. If you haven't, windailysports.com/learn daily. You get everything free for 3 days, which is all of Adam's articles, all of Adam's time in the Discord chat, all of our projections, and even more of Adam's time in the Discord chat, which is always fun too. And he'll probably throw in a parlay every once in a while to see if you can win some big money like he has in the last few days. But talk to me, man. We have Shane Bieber on the slate going up against the Pirates. Do you just want to rattle off some of these numbers that make this 10-6 number just a little crazy for me?
Yeah, I mean, for starters, you just have to look as far as yesterday. You look at Garrett Cole, it's 11K. Jacob DeGrom was 11.6. I mean, Shane Bieber is easily $1,000 underpriced. Top 10 in swinging strike rate, leads the majors in just raw strikeout number. There's not much more I could really say. I would be utterly shocked if he's not at least like 50-60% in GPPs. And honestly, I just think you have to eat it. I don't see a way around it, really.
Yeah, I think cash games, you kind of
Yeah,
just play them. Like,
yeah,
that's not even a question.
right,
In GPPs, as you said, that number is still probably going to be ridiculously high. And, maybe if you're feeling frisky, you can move off him to Kershaw against Seattle, which we'll talk about in a second. But why bother? The dude's
right.
been lights out. He's been absolutely incredible all year. I think he set the record or tied the record for most strikeouts in the first two starts of a season. The dude's been insane. And I mean, I'm rooting for it. Hell, I love pitching. That's my favorite part about baseball. That's why I love Jacob DeGrom so much. But I mean, in that case, yeah, we're probably locking in Shane Bieber in about just all of your lineups. But let's say there's a couple that you can't put him in every single lineup, especially if you're making a bunch. So let's just move down one step to Clayton Kershaw. Obviously, not Clayton Kershaw of 2014, but still
Right.
pretty damn good here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You look and he's averaging 21.3 DK points. The strikeouts have come down a little bit. You're not going to get vintage Kershaw. But again, he's not exactly priced like vintage Kershaw.
Mhm.
In 2014, he was probably pushing like 12K. He gets the Seattle Mariners, which, okay, they jumped on Julio Urias last night, but Urias and Kershaw are still not remotely the same pitcher. This is still a very, very poor Seattle offense. Bottom five in all major offensive categories we look at: OPS, ISO, WOBA, WRC plus. There's nothing they're good at. They sport over 26% K rate. So even though Kershaw, doesn't have like the highest strikeout ceiling on most nights, this could be a night where the team kind of helps him have a high strikeout ceiling.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm sure Nick is quickly putting in that K prop bet as he always does. He loves those a lot. Let's look at a little bit of value. I know one guy that you're really on, and I'm actually on him too because I have him in my season long. So I always love to see this dude's only given up one earned run, I think, in like 4 or 5 straight starts. Dilson Lamet of the San Diego Padres. How are you feeling about him tonight? And why the hell is he so cheap?
It's a really good question. Much like Bieber, at least $1,000 underpriced, if not maybe even a little bit more. He's coming off back-to-back starts. One was 37 DK, I believe. One was 25. His price dropped like $700. That's nonsensical. It's literally just. I don't know what DK was thinking. That's kind of inexcusable. But hey, we're going to take it because Lamet is just like Bieber, and he's top 10 in swing strike rate, raw strikeouts. He's one of the top strikeout artists in the game. You plug these two in, you're under 19,000, or I'm sorry, right at 19.1. Without a doubt, you have a ceiling of like 22, 24 strikeouts tonight. And that's a lot. That's not an exaggeration where your ceiling's at.
That's a good place to be, especially on DraftKings, where we really want all those strikeouts. That's how we're racking it up, and that's how we're making a lot of money. So, one thing I do have a question about Dylan Lamet, the Texas offense, the Rangers offense hasn't been terrible this year. I know, Shane Bieber is incredible no matter who he's going up against, but he's going up against your Pirates. So, of course, we're going to try and hammer that. But Texas's offense hasn't been nearly as bad as the Pirates have this year. Is there any cause for concern there when playing Lamet?
I mean, there's pretty much cause for maybe not concern, but you can always make a case for just about any offense. Pitcher is a bad night, but when you look at the Texas offense, they haven't been great, but like their strikeout rate's under 22%, I believe it is. It's pretty low for them, especially because they have quite a few strikeout bats in that lineup. Right, Gallo, Odor. They have hitters that strike out a ton. But I was kind of surprised versus righty pitching. They're bottom 10 in OPS, ISO, WOBA, stuff like that. Is kind of one of the first few things that I look at. So not only is it a decent strikeout spot just because it's Lamet, it's not a bad run prevention spot either.
Love it. I love it. That is fantastic. And that's the information we come here to get. So let's start talking about some of these stacks, and we'll just move from right to left on the slate here. So the first one I know, and I'm sorry to do it, man, but let's talk about these Cleveland hitters going up against Trevor Williams. First thing, Trevor Williams is bad. Second thing, Cleveland offense hasn't quite lived up to potential, but there's still some pretty expensive guys here. So talk to me a little bit about creating a nice little Cleveland stack here going up against Trevor Williams.
Yeah, so if you kind of wanted to do full Cleveland stack, you're going to have to get a little bit creative because even though your pitchers are underpriced, they are still over 19,000. You don't have the most amount of money to spend on offense. So you're probably going to pick either Ramirez or Lindor. You probably really can't afford both reasonably. But Trevor Williams is pretty bad against lefty hitters through his career. So if you wanted, a little bit of a cheaper route, Carlos Santana, home runs in 2 straight games. And then you kind of come down, you can almost do the wraparound deal where you can click on Bradley Zimmer. You could use Cesar Hernandez, not always my favorite kind of guy, not a lot of big pop potential, but as part of a wraparound stack, I don't hate it. And then you plug in your last guy, which is either Ramirez or Lindor, whichever your preference is, whichever is going to fit better into your stack, which actually, you went Lindor. I might lean Ramirez because we have a shortstop for the Diamondbacks that is quite cheap and might help build our stack a little bit.
I like that. And yes, of course, we always like to find 2 teams that pair very well. So that way we can make sure that we're building the most optimal. And I'm excited to check out these Diamondbacks. Nick and I looked at it last night. I'm sure you guys looked at it the night before. For whatever reason, these Diamondbacks are super, super underpriced. And now we know ballpark takes into account. We know the opposing pitcher takes into account. But I wouldn't say Sean Manaea is, this world beater. Yes, we've seen him have great games, but we've also seen him do pretty poor. And yes, Oakland is big, but these Arizona bats are pretty damn good. Why the hell are they so cheap?
It's a really good question. And honestly, we talked about Cesar Hernandez wasn't my favorite. I'm really okay with doing a 3-man Indian stack because Ketel Marte at $4,000, who's actually cheaper than Hernandez was and has much higher potential and much more pop, fits into that slot a lot better. And then you could build with Starling Marte, Nick Ahmed, and you have a nice little 3-man Diamondback stack. And I mean, it's kind of, pick your poison after that. You can use, a guy like Carson Kelly, again, do the wraparound thing. If you really wanted to get nuts, Timmy LaCastro, 2,400, lefty on lefty's not necessarily my favorite, but he's also going to be really low owned as well.
Yes. Yeah. And that even leaves us with a little bit of money left
Right.
over.
You can kind of go back and, you know,
Check out.
pick a spot that you'd like to be a little bit better at, play
Of
around
course.
with it.
But it would be interesting. It would definitely be interesting, and I like that. I like this little stack right here. I always do love those Diamondbacks for whatever reason, man. They're hyper underpriced, and I'm always a fan of picking on bad pitching. And Trevor Williams was good that one time, right? It was like those like 6 starts like 3 years ago. He was
Yeah.
awesome.
We can hit him. But the thing is, you can't use him in DFS because he doesn't strike anybody
Yep.
out. And like he can be a frustrating pitcher to go against because he
Mhm.
does generate enough ground balls. He can just have a good start and for 5 innings frustrate that offense, but he's still not a good pitcher.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm sorry, man. I'm always a fan of the Pirates. Always a fan of the Pirates because I'm always rooting for them.
We got a long
All
way
right.
to go. It's all right.
You and me both, man. The Mets aren't even playing today, so at least you
Right.
can watch your team play. So let's talk a little bit about a Dodgers stack. Our buddy over here, Brian Tulloch, he is on vacation, so you have been taking over picks and pivots. And there is kind of this line that Brian always puts, and by default, always make sure you're stacking the Dodgers because they far and away always have the best offense. So let's talk a little bit about a nice little Dodger stack here, and maybe a team that might pair up real nice with what we're looking at.
Yeah, so you can look, with Kikuchi on the mound, you can always get the cheap Dodger righties,
Hmm.
which will probably be, fairly popular because I think the Bieber Lamette combo is going to be popular, especially in cash.
Hmm.
So you can look at guys. I mean, Chris Taylor's in the 5 hole at 3,100.
Ooh.
Hasn't really gotten it going this year, but I'm a big proponent of. I tend to look at career longer than about a 20-game stretch,
Yeah.
and at 3,100 in the 5 hole for the Dodgers, you're not really going to be too picky there.
Mhm.
You have Justin Turner, probably still a little bit underpriced, 4,900. You have AJ Pollock hitting second for 39.
And one note on AJ Pollock, he's been hot recently. He
Right.
has been very hot, and at 3,900, let's take him in the 2 hole. Might swipe you a couple bags, but also we know this Dodgers lineup. They're gonna have people on base. Might have the opportunity to either A, score, or B, knock in an RBI for you as well.
Now, if you can find the right value, you can throw a guy like Mookie Betts in there.
Mhm.
Since you're getting some value, even if maybe you drop Justin Turner out, you leave Eduardo Escobar in for the Diamondbacks,
Mhm.
you can play around their values. You can still get a big bat, even with the Bieber and Lamette combo.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do like that. Yeah, if we can maybe throw a little, where'd you go, Mookie? Come back. Here we go. You could potentially get a little Mookie Betts in there with 3,500 if we're doing a nice little three-man here. Wouldn't be too bad. I'm not going to
No,
be too angry about it. And I know one other team that you're interested in, and maybe do you want to talk about Baltimore here with this Dodger stack by any chance?
yeah, let's go ahead
Yeah.
and see if that'll fit. I haven't run that combo together yet, but I have a
Okay.
feeling it'll actually work out pretty nicely. Because
Perfect.
I'm starting with Anthony Santander, so we have an outfield spot.
Hmm.
And then we're looking for Renato Nunez. You have both first base and third base out there.
Okay.
And then
Play around with that one.
who were I'm missing somebody. Go to
Velasquez?
no.
Mullins?
Um, Man, their lineup didn't really turn out quite the way I thought. I don't think.
Hmm. It
Forget.
happens.
Oh, I wanted Chance Cisco when I wrote.
Uh,
That's who I was
mhm.
looking towards. But that's okay because we even have guys like Joey Bart for San Francisco that just called
Yeah.
up today. Only 2,600 versus a lefty in his first start, and 2,600, whatever he scores is kind of a bonus.
Hmm.
So that's another cheap bat
Where the
that
heck
can make
is Ooh, and it's
can
his
make
first
everything
game.
work.
We can
Right,
play the narrative game, right? That's always
right.
a fun game to play. All right.
Highly touted prospect. I'm a sucker for that, especially when they're cheap and then they're in a position I tend to punt anyways. So it
Mhm.
makes it work a little bit better.
I love it. I love it. All right. Was there one more stack that we wanted to go over? I
Um,
think that's it, actually. That's kind of
yeah,
that's where we're sitting tonight. So it's
yeah,
if you're looking to punt catcher, hang out with Joey Bart. We'll play the narrative game. Couple guys from Baltimore, maybe even a couple guys from Boston, only because Baltimore is so bad. At pitching, at least. Their offense has been weirdly good this year, which I think is pretty awesome. It's always fun to see teams like that play. But I mean, you can also always just, play Mike Trout because I mean, shoot, why not?
why
He's Mike
not?
Trout.
Right.
It's not those aren't bad odds. I don't mind those too much. So yeah, Adam, really appreciate your time as always. Make sure to check out all of Adam's articles. He's been writing picks and pivots recently. I think that actually ends soon though, because Brian will be coming back. Shout out Brian
So,
at
so he says.
yeah, exactly. We'll see. He's got a wife and kids and he's camping and all this other stuff. So maybe he just runs off into the woods and stays there. At Two Lock Sports for him because we always love what he's doing. Adam, where can everyone find you on the internet?
I am at Buckin for Life on Twitter, BUCN, the number 4, and then the word life.
Love it. Always find Adam hopping around the Discord for NBA, for MLB, which has been a lot of fun. You can find me at Michael Raziel1, as I said, at Win Daily Sports and windailysports.com/learn daily. Get everything on the site right now, which is mostly Adam, and we love it and we appreciate the hell out of it. All his articles, all the projections, all the cheat sheets, all the expert Discord chat, and the optimizer that we're rolling with too. So we do appreciate that there. But for Adam, for everybody here at Win Daily Sports, I am Michael Raziel, and I hope you make it a very profitable evening.